Welcome to Sweeping the Country. I'm Derek Walker, along with my co-host, Mr. Jimmy Carter. Hey, Jimmy.
Hello, as we head toward Halloween.
Ooh, right around the corner.
Hey. We've had a really hot summer, I think.
Yeah, I think we have too here, yeah.
And we've had, the tropical disturbances of the last month or so have been really horrendous on Florida.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously on the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah.
As they're continuing, they'll be cleaning up that place for years to come, actually.
Indeed.
And all of a sudden, here it is, not even Halloween, and they had their first snow in the Smokies. And south of Gatlinburg, up there in the longest line, up there at 6,000 feet, is where that's the top out in the smoke.
Oh, that's not very high, yeah.
No, it's not. And they had 4 inches of snow.
Wow.
Wind chill was down into single digits. I got out to the car this morning at 6:45, and we've been having, 90-degree days. And Texas has been having 100-degree days this week.
Yeah.
And then I got in the car, and it was 45 this morning.
Wow, that's
cold. I wasn't
cold.
ready for that. I had to hit the heated seats and the, in the maximum heat. I couldn't even remember this car I've never had in cold. Well, maybe I did in January, but I couldn't remember how to get to the heat. I said a panic.
But
I know in Texas, they went from 100 degrees one day into, like 70 the next day. So weather is crazy, and they're coming out with the winter forecast because it's La Nina as opposed to El Nino.
Okay.
So La Nina for us means a warmer winter, supposedly, because of the Gulf waters are warmer than normal.
What does it mean on the West Coast? Is it the same for us, too?
Yeah, La Nina's out there is the cold water off of Chile or something.
Okay.
But anyway, the jet stream is going to be, you're going to have a normal winter. If anything, it's going to be a little bit colder.
Okay.
You're going to have average to a lot of snow and that type of stuff. In the south and the east, going to have less snow.
Okay.
And by some degree. I mean, like they normally would have 49 inches. They're going to have 29 inches.
Wow, that's pretty significant.
So for ski resorts, it can be in the east. It's not going to, they say, a great, God snow. I guess they can make snow.
Yeah.
And so the weather's just been insane. And, of course, the cleanup, those poor people, this is where they're going to get Milton cleaned up in Florida.
Yeah.
And they've canceled some stuff, but they're getting back. Really, the thing that made the most damage was the tornadoes down there.
Yeah,
and it went to the solar farm, and it did a bunch of stuff. And they'll get all that straightened out. I would think by the end of the year. And some, obviously the parks are all back already, and things are getting back to normal in Florida pretty quickly. On the beach, maybe not so much. In St. Petersburg and those areas, they've got a lot of sand that was moved.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm not sure how they plan to get that sand away from where it doesn't belong.
It's my wife and I were watching that, and we're not, familiar with that hot climate with all the sand and the beach and all that. We're used to the snow and the cold climate where they actually take the snow just like that sand looked and build it up in the center of the street so you could drive down the street. They do that with the snow. They take a two-way street, they make it a one-way street. There's all kinds of rule changes in the wintertime up north. So when we saw the sand, my wife looked at me and she said, "Did that blow in off the beach?" And I said, "I think it rode in the water, and then it just
rode in the water,
and it just sat there.
And there was just a lot of sand, and then
a ton.
Water withdraws, and the sand stays.
Yeah, so they scoup it like snow.
There was a house filled with sand.
Yeah, I saw.
There was a beach house that was filled with sand.
That's crazy.
I don't know what they do about that, if anything. But that Milton's going to get taken care of up there in the northern part of Florida. It tore up a lot of stuff, but they'll still somewhat. It'll be a while before some of that comes back together because it had 2 hurricanes. But up there in the Appalachians where they don't have any hurricanes and had, flood that was ungodly. And there's still, now there've been a lot of stories. I had someone just call me, and he's listening to this podcast right now.
Yeah.
He read it and he saw it on a legitimate source. And it was about how they may have 1,000 bodies in cold storage or something, wait to be identified. Oof. And that is not a true story. That is not a true story.
Okay, good.
They have spent a lot of time debunking all these internet stories that are going around because people are doing stuff for clicks. And a lot of these people are out of the country. They're faking different things, sounding like a legitimate news organization, put stuff up with some kind of pictures from a flood and Afghanistan or something,
Mm-hmm.
and they put it up there, and they're sneaky, trying to do what I think sometimes it's a scam,
Oof.
because I catch people all the time. Why they can't do some kind of policing on the internet, I guess because of the people on one side of the fence that are going to say, no, we can't do it because it's the rights of people. But I mean, I look on here every day, there's a fake Blake Shelton or a fake Morgan Wallen on my side of the Facebook world trying to get people to direct message them or go to this link and that type of stuff. Why that's not dealt with more harshly, I don't understand.
I
I don't
agree with
understand.
you. Somebody asked me the other day, we were just talking off air, and we were talking about, the dark web and freezing your credit and all these things to
Have you
protect,
ever
right?
been to the dark web? By the way, I
No, I
never
have.
have.
I'm
I wouldn't
afraid.
know how to do it if my life depended on
And
it.
I would be afraid to go there. But I this last data breach that happened about a year ago made me freeze my credit, and we've talked about that before.
Right.
And so we did that, and now I think that every email I get now is a hack. Every single one. I got one the other day from my bank, and I threw it away. And they're like, "Hey, you're ignoring this letter. You got to vote by proxy for the officers of the blah blah
Well,
blah."
even more disturbing, I got something, an alert or something, and I haven't had time to go to American Express and look at it,
Yeah,
but I did look. Apple's good about telling you what you've subscribed to,
yeah, they are good. Yeah,
and you can see what you subscribe to. And this is some kind of clean Mac or something like that I did not subscribe to according to the subscriptions.
mm-hmm.
So I know if I did that, I didn't do it because
Right,
that's how I would have done it.
right.
And so they're charging me monthly some ridiculous $30 or something for something I never did. So I've got to get with American Express and have them stop it. And even they, don't fight like they used to on certain things because they think you did something and you're just trying to get out of it or whatever. Have you contacted the people directly? No, because I don't think they're
Nobody
legitimate.
knows who
I'm
they
not going to
are.
try to get to these people,
Right,
just
right.
take my card off of their service.
Now, and
And they
that's
don't, they
that.
seem very reluctant to do that.
I
And I don't,
agree, and that was kind of my point. Is you talking about the dark web and why can't they clamp down? And I kind of think I don't know why, but they don't know where these people are. They
yeah,
don't. Who
they're in
knows?
bad places.
Right.
They said that the Eastern European countries over there in Ukraine, I think, used to be one of the bad ones, but it's somewhere north of that now,
Yeah.
where these bad people are doing all kinds of things against the like. I don't think this is another part of this whole election, and I will be glad when it's over with. I
Me
know
as
people
well.
who are scared about the outcome, but I look at. I went to, like, for example, ABC News just a few minutes ago in
Mm-hmm.
their website,
Yeah.
and us Drudge is the absolute worst about this. But you can tell as we get closer to the election and the fear grows that Trump is going to win by some people, that the more ridiculous stories are coming out, that you're seeing like this woman in the DA down in Fulton County
Mm-hmm.
trying to go against the judge and come out with the story again. We're telling the judge he should reinstate
Yeah.
the
Several
charges.
charges. Yeah.
All these things are coming up just to get bad things to affect the election.
Right.
But
Right.
there's nobody that can. We're like the Wild West again, except in different ways. We've got politicians that have politicized government agencies like the Justice Department.
Mm-hmm.
Nixon tried to get the Justice Department, the FBI, to do stuff. You had J. Edgar Hoover, who no one even really to this day knows all the crazy things that he did.
Yeah, I remember the
The
dress
FBI,
thing.
and
Wasn't it?
supposedly they cleaned it up.
Right.
And how much cover up they've done on
Right.
the Kennedys over the years. They never told everything that was going on with either Bobby or John Kennedy. It's never really, they've covered it. If it was Trump, they've had everything in the world come out about him. Nobody's covering up for him,
Right.
but they will cover up for some other people. It's tiring to look at that and say, I know a lot of people don't know it any better, because they
Yeah.
see something and they think it's real or they don't understand the slant. And the slant's coming from, in a lot of cases, the digital side of these newsrooms, the digital side of ABC and NBC and CBS. I guarantee you there's no gray hair working on the whole thing.
Yeah,
These are
yeah.
all young people that are in their probably in their 20s, because I know they're probably not getting paid great, but they're
Mm-hmm.
probably 20s at the latest in their 30s. And most of those people that are on the East Coast, where most of these newsrooms are on the liberal side of the page. So you can feel their bias in what they cover, what they slant things toward, a word or two here,
Yes,
a
yes, yes.
word or two there, and nobody catches it. And the bosses that are looking over this quickly, because they got a bias too, so
Right.
they're not seeing it, and they say, "Oh,
You're so right.
it's very subtle in some cases not so subtle."
Yeah,
When you
you're
look at
so
something
right.
like MSNBC paying, I was reading today with they're paying some ridiculous amount of money for Rachel Maddow, who
Hmm.
works 1 day a week or something like that, $30 million or something like that. You cannot tell me they're getting $30 million of work out of Rachel Maddow.
No, no.
And if I was a stockholder in that company, I'd be jumping up and down.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
it's just some of these things that go on. Just really, just I shake my head, and I just hate going to my Facebook and looking over there in the comments, and you see Blake Shelton. Thank you for your comment on. I had to put a Blake Shelton story for it, telling whoever this person is that commented on it. Oh, thank you for your good words. Now contact me directly, and I'll get you a special. And sometimes it's more secretive than that. And they're using like Blake Shelton with the words all run together, or Blake. I don't know how they even get away with some of that. And you can report it, and God knows what they do about it. They never tell you. That's another thing. If you report something, they never give you the results of the report. Oh, you
I
were right. Thank you for that. Boom.
Yeah, it just
They
goes
just
into this
do it. No, they
vast
don't.
whatever. I don't even half the time I don't even when I hit unsubscribe, and now I'm a little leery about unsubscribing, thinking that's the button they want you to hit in order to steal the data, right? So I don't even hit that. I delete it, I block it, and I move on. But half the time when I hit unsubscribe, a week later I get it again. So it's not going anywhere. There's no unsubscribe anything. They
Well, here's a
change the
great one. Have
IP
you heard of
address.
this? I think it would be unfair to call it a sex site, but I'll call it, it's got that element in it. Onlyfans.com.
Oh yeah.
OnlyFans.
Oh
Heard
yeah.
of that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got an
Well,
idea for
there's
you.
a kind of a free side of it where you see, in some of these cases, they're well known people.
Mm-hmm.
Carmen Electra, or let's just use her
Oh yeah,
example
sure. Yeah.
because I saw it in the story this week. They used her name. So for X number of dollars, you can supposedly, in some things, get these people to send you a greeting or put you in a chat room or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's just say that some of these people think that they're going to a Carmen Electra chat room. And so they think they're talking to Carmen Electra. And it's either I don't think they've got it where AI can do it, but maybe they do.
It's coming.
What it
Yeah.
is, they hire people in the Far East that are called chatters,
Mm-hmm.
and they pay them $4 or $5 an hour, and then they pay them a bonus based on how much money they can drum up.
Mm.
And they are the actual ones you're talking. You think you're talking to Carmen Electra, but you're talking to some guy over there in the Philippines who's getting $4 an hour, and they're good. And sometimes they show you how good they are. They can do 3 or 4 conversations at a time.
Wow, that's incredible.
So and it said for 29 cents or whatever they charge, you can get this. I'll continue this 29 cents a minute. I will
Yeah.
continue talking to you. And then people are lonely and they're dumb and whatever else, and they think they're talking to Carmen Electra on the pay, and they say, well, it's reasonable that I'm paying Carmen Electra 29 cents a
Yeah,
minute,
that's totally reasonable.
or $1.29 or whatever they're getting away
But
with.
Jimmy, people
But
fall
it's really
into
some
that.
dude
You.
over there in the Far East.
Oh God.
So there are some people getting sued, companies
Oh
that are
really?
getting sued for this. Yeah, it's fraud.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm just wondering
It's
how they
fraud. So
find
I
them.
don't
You know.
know. And some of these other habits are going to get revealed coming up, but that's just kind of something that's happened this week. So, oh my goodness, and it's just
It's crazy.
my
But
head of how much.
I will say this. It's funny because as far as technology goes and how it's intertwined into our life, and you and I both use it probably
Oh yeah.
maximum level because of what we do.
Yep.
And I was headed to bed the other night, and my wife said, "Hey, what time is my alarm set?" to Siri. Siri says 6:30, blah 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 a.m. And my wife says, "Thank you." And then I say, what time is my alarm? And Siri says 6:30, and I say, "Thank you." And then I look at my wife. I say, "I just thanked the machine for setting my alarm." Now, what is my problem? Now, I'm a polite individual, so I'm not going to be like harping over something like that. But isn't that odd that I'm talking to the machine as if it cares if I say thank you? It doesn't care. I could have said F you, and the machine would have responded probably the same way.
Sometimes they do, and sometimes yeah.
I mean,
it's just, I just don't know how, it's radio came around in like there was the Communications Act of 1934.
Okay.
Now, that was the first big thing to try to wrangle in some controls of radio.
And what was,
just couldn't put the radio stations on every corner and that type of thing.
What was that? Was there a problem that led to the rules?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was people you needed, not everybody just couldn't build a transmitter on their block
and start shooting stuff.
Frequencies interloping all over each other and that type of thing. They just had to put some order into it, from naming, whether it was going to start with a W or a K, or whether it was the power, because if you had too much power on this frequency, like 740, you had to say in Alabama, you can have 740, but you can only operate in the daytime.
Okay.
Because Houston's got a 740 KTRH, but they can only operate with that big power in the daytime, because 740 is what they call a clear channel in Canada. So they can do a lot of power at night, but if everybody did it at night, they'd be running into each other and causing a big mess.
Okay, so they came up with
it's like traffic control, like the FAA. They gave some streets in the air. They gave streets in this.
Makes sense.
But why they let the internet just when they were been anally retentive on broadcasters, AM and FM and television, on everything about it.
Yeah.
And they were anal retentive. I mean, they were
you're right
about everything and logs and to the minutia of the engineering, the content, to the words you said on the radio, the 7 dirty words or whatever it was.
Oh yeah.
And all those things went on forever. Then all of a sudden, kaput. And the FCC remained, where you still can't do certain things on broadcasting, but the internet, you can do anything you want.
Why is it? Because it's not? I mean, the FCC is the.
I don't know.
Why is it exempt?
Somebody in government decided, and someone needs to write a book on it. It's okay because the internet existed. It was for scientists to talk to each other's labs while they were inventing the nuclear bomb.
Okay, so
that was
been around
for originally. It was for college and science and those people to be able to talk in an easy way. I don't know how sophisticated that was, but it was.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I don't know who. I don't remember those early days when you were connected by that phone line in AOL.
Yeah,
all that stuff. And we were glad to get it, as crappy as it was, and as slow as it was.
Yeah, we were.
No one wanted to. I think there was a thing from Congress. We don't want to stop the growth of this by putting a bunch of handicaps on it.
Well,
okay. But then as the speed kept growing, other people jumped on there because it was faster and more friendly. And all these companies were popping up. And then, Facebook is invented and Twitter is invented.
Oh, yeah.
By these guys. And then the speeds kept going up and up. And the phone companies and technology kept pushing to make better phone companies. And the space program, I think, invented the cellular phone, but I'm not 100% positive of that.
Okay.
But I think it is. And all these things, technology just kept changing.
Yeah.
It got faster and faster and better quality. And that's all good. But the content, no one ever did a thing about the content. And, it's like they didn't want to do it even back in the 70s and 80s. Remember when there was VHS versus Betamax?
Oh, yeah.
Versus Panasonic? No one would make a standard in this country.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
They even had standards for television that were better in Europe than in the United States. They had something called PAL. I believe that was the one that they had more lines in their TV than we had lines in our analog TVs, and their
Fascinating.
TV signals looked better because we did whatever we did with NTSC, I think it's called. But we have regulated to every step along the way
Mm-hmm.
except for content. We let the content go crazy. These are the same people, religious people, who were scared we were going to see a Playboy magazine, as
Yeah,
late,
right.
somewhere probably in the late 90s, scared we were going to see a naked person on Playboy on the print copy at the grocery store. And they were having people doing beyond anyone's imagination on the internet where it was free. And to this day, it's free.
Yeah.
Children can get on here today, and I'm not going to give you the names of the sites,
Yeah.
but they're there and they're pretty easy to find.
Well, I
And
mean, you
they've
get
got
to
everything beyond your imagination, and particularly on TikTok.
Jimmy,
TikTok has a whole
you can
bunch of
just
stuff
type
that's
in a
out there.
word and pull back the moderate search on your browser and let it go, and you are going to get stuff you never believed you'd ever see. And you're right about the people with the magazine. It is the same people that were regulating putting a black wrapper on a Playboy magazine or plastic coating
Right.
so you couldn't
So
see
why
it.
didn't they get involved with the content?
I don't
on
know.
the-
I
What,
don't
did
know.
they lose their power?
I don't
That
know.
they had for that point. These are the same people that are battling, and the most important story to them is abortion.
Jimmy,
You know,
all I can
they're one issue people.
all
And
I
they
can think
just
about
totally dropped the ball.
all I can think about is there must have been a money trail somewhere, and somebody
Oh,
said,
there's a
"Look,
money trail. I
you
don't
guys
doubt it.
don't regulate this. You are going to become the richest people in the world. Just let us have it, and we'll show you how much money we can make daily, every minute."
Yeah, I don't know who I mean, I don't know if it was I think the phone companies were benefiting. It seemed like.
At the beginning, yeah, I
I
agree.
think they were.
Yeah, I agree. And then we went wireless. Everybody went wireless, and then they started relaying cable called fiber, which is allowing
Oh
everybody
yeah,
to
and
shoot by light now.
AT&T still putting in fiber.
Mm-hmm.
Out here, hard lines. But
I don't know.
I just don't know how they dropped the ball, because to this day, I've got members of my family that have children,
Yeah.
and I've got these extra computers down here that aren't good enough for me to do what I do, but they're plenty good for a child to play a game on, or
Yeah, sure.
electronically draw, or do any number of things, and they don't want it in their house because they want to, and I don't blame them, because kids will go investigate. They're sharper than we are.
Oh, sure.
Technology. I don't, and at school, I think they're regulating it somehow, the access and where they use it, and I think they somehow have it figured out at school how they can block those sites that are bad.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it, but somehow they do it with their browsers. I think that's they only load. They don't load like Safari or Chrome. They load something else.
It's funny you said block the sites that are bad, and it just got me thinking. I think the real question now is, and yeah, you could do that, and you can block the bad
people
sites.
change them all day. I think I should have said allow the sites that are good.
Yeah, actually, that
Instead
would
of
be a
block
better
the
way to
sites
go.
that are bad.
But here's
that's an endless number.
no doubt about that. But here's the crux of that whole thing: what is and who is determining what is bad? It's like you and I.
That's the bad part. See, that's
you and I
can. None of us won't,
right?
Because we don't want some jackass up there telling me that this. I didn't want the jackasses to be ridiculous about hiding Playboy magazine. I didn't think it need. I don't know what I think about. Frankly, I still don't know what I think about.
Right, and I think we have all these
and
opinions.
how old is too old and how old is too young, to be looking at all that stuff. And does it hurt? Yeah, is it good for you? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, it's nature, but some of the stuff that's on the internet is not nature. It's not normal, and it's weird.
I would agree.
You've got all this argument in society today. I heard it just today on a forum with it was on Fox, and it was with President Trump and the Midday people. And one of the folks, there was an audience, town hall.
Yeah.
And a member of the audience, nice lady, was complaining about men in women's sports.
Yeah, I've heard this whole controversy. Yeah.
Trump said that he would just write a executive order or something that doesn't allow it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that you can do that, but
I don't
I'm
either.
sure
Yeah.
a court case would come 10 seconds later.
Sure.
I don't really quite understand men and women's sports and men and women's locker rooms. I don't, it's just where does the beginning and where's the end of the political correctness about, the stories like I was reading today. There was a mass shooting in Nashville recently.
I saw
They
that.
made an arrest. Finally, they did. They found this guy, and when they went to the house, it was two guys, 24-year-olds, taken into custody. They were in a short-term rental property not far from where the shooting took place on Saturday. He was carrying an assault-style weapon with a loaded magazine at the time of the arrest.
Wow.
The guy was according to police, he was convicted of robbery, felony gun possession, and felony drug possession charges. He received a 10-year probated sentence to the Community Corrections Program. And what's he done? He's gone out and killed somebody.
Jeez.
So, and you can almost, every time you see a story like that, it's like they don't have to go with every name in the phone book. They can start with the people that are on parole.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a shorter list. And it's a lot of times one of those people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somewhere in there that's done a bad thing again. It's usually not their last thing they do. This person said the shooters had no regard for human life. Then it said the entire criminal justice system must treat violent gun crime with the seriousness it demands, with resulting incarceration for those convicted. And that's from a black police chief in Nashville, Tennessee. This is not about race. It's about right and wrong and good and bad.
You're right. You're right.
Got to keep these bad people, they've got to be kept off the street. When they've done something really horrible like that, if you give them 10 years, they got to go 10 years. But while they're in there, if you ever plan to let them out, you've got to do something. Because why would they ever go straight? What's the point? Once you put them into that hellhole of prisons where they're learning every kind of bad thing in the world,
right?
Then you can let them out on society after they've gotten their master's degree and being a criminal.
Right. And in this case, like you're saying, they got probated the sentence, so they didn't serve the whole time. They went for a couple years, let's say, and they get back out.
Somehow they could buy, an assault weapon type thing because his guns are everywhere.
Sure, yeah.
Illegal. That's what they need to be. It's not that they want to ban assault weapons. They need to ban where these things, wherever these people are buying these things from, that's where their concentration should be.
Well,
they say, okay, tell us where you got this weapon, and we might be a little less hard on you
to figure it out and stop the flow.
Start following that chain down there. Where are all these weapons coming from? Are they coming from Mexico? Are they coming from where?
Well, you and I talked about this before we got started, and you even said today, have you been on the dark web? And I said no. I would venture to guess a lot of these transactions originate.
How do these stupid people that have been, and I presume these people are stupid, how do they know how to get on the dark web or anything else? And then do our cops know how to get on if these morons can get on the dark web?
Yeah.
Our cops know how to get on the dark
web.
Well,
if they served any time in prison at all, they made contacts that had contacts. I mean, these are
they're getting their master's or doctoral.
Sure.
And being a criminal.
And these are the worst of the worst people who know people that can say, oh, yeah, I know this guy will get you on the dark web. What do you need?
Stuff, that's one thing we've got to worry about.
Yeah, we do.
And we've got people, we've got such a shortage of police. I saw today where a Bronco car had been T-boned by a Cadillac in the middle of the day on a busy road, but, in suburbia.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter drives a Bronco, and I said, I know you try to be as defensive driving as you can, but all of us, and all my friends, we've all talked about it. Now you really need to be looking to the left and the right in intersections.
Yes.
You can't assume that the red light is going to be honored by the people coming in the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
You've really got to, I think more than ever, you've really got a defensive drive because the cops are not enforcing traffic laws anymore.
Right. This right
They're
here.
They're not doing driver's license. They're scared to do it, I think, or there's no incentive for them to do it, etc.
This right here, you know how many tickets they could write on these that I see on the way home? And I know they don't have the personnel, and I know it's not a huge crime, but it turns into one when somebody's looking at their phone and they run a red light and kill someone.
Some of these crimes.
Yeah, the fine's got to be high.
Like, if these people, these criminals think they can get away with this and get away with that because nothing really happens to them, and we see how we treat famous people that do bad things. We just, Justin Timberlake, whoever it is, they pay $500 and walk
away. Yeah,
it doesn't feel like there's equal justice, in the law.
Yeah,
and it just feels like in some cases there's no law at all, like the internet. And then you see where these people just, are putting out all kinds of rumors and things over there. They put out that militias roaming around the woods going to kill FEMA. When that wasn't true.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw there was one guy or some
and
crazy.
If it was true, why are we? We don't have many reporters anymore because they fired all of them.
Right.
But is the military? Do they have forward-looking infrared radar that go up above, and they've got it in every police helicopter in every major city?
Yeah.
You could fly over the woods out there, and you'd see body signatures go bleep bleep bleep. You could turn satellites that we have. Bleep, 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 you'd see people.
Yeah.
If there's 4 or 5 militia or whatever doing something, you'd see them. And so if they really are out there, we really should be coming down on something like that. But, you get so much rumor and, it's just enough information where it could be true. And there have been some people. There was one guy arrested who's making threats to linemen. And, let's put those people under the jail. Because you got to make an example out of them. You really do.
Right, you're right.
You got to make an example out of people. We don't tolerate that kind of behavior, particularly during a case of emergency on somebody like a fireman or a lineman or something like that. That person, you extra hard on those people.
I agree, Jimmy, but I think it all comes back to that same thing you said earlier, and that is if there's really no punishment, why would they care?
That's right. I mean, there's no consequence. That's the biggest thing. If there are no consequences in little things like, skipping school, if they just enforce skipping school, you'd probably be a long way to try to save some of these kids, that just, it's too hard to do algebra, so they just don't go to school at all anymore, and nobody cares. What happened to the whole, who got rid of truant officers?
I don't know.
They put the parents in jail if your kid wasn't at school.
Well,
what happened to that?
There used to even be parenting where if you didn't go to school, the parents would punish the kid themselves. But I'm not even
sure. You have a legal obligation, I think, in every state for your children above the age of whatever to go to school. And who's the one that just cut that out or stopped it or whatever? I'm just confused about a lot of things that how this country is run and how we got to it. And we're not going to be able to change it with anybody like a Trump or a Harris or anybody else. They can't go in there and say, food prices will go down. We don't live in that country. That's Russia.
Right.
So I don't know how you get, the price of orange juice is not a good example because they do have problems in orange groves and sickness in the plant.
It fluctuates. Yeah.
But I mean, this milk or whatever. And milk prices are screwed up because the family dairy has been reduced, and they've gone to factory farms even for that with great big stores that are these big box stores that buy, just unbelievable amounts of milk and things like that. The little places little family farm can't compete with all that.
So what is it? Is it society? Is it the USA? Is it America that says, okay, let's enforce the rules we already have on the books?
Well, that'd be a hell of a start.
And let's go.
The laws we have.
Yeah, let's just start there because we don't.
We have immigration laws. We have all of this. Every kind of law that you can. We don't need any more laws. I don't think.
I don't either. We
probably have a lot of laws. We just need to enforce the ones we've got. And if we've got dookie ones, put some new ones in. But I mean, Texas has the right idea. They don't even have the legislature meet, but every 2 years. Yeah, because their thought is they're doing bad things when they're there. So
hey, that's interesting that they say that. But if we say, okay, we're going to enforce the laws, then we have to have people to do that. We have to have the personnel.
We got so many criminals that are. We don't have room in the prisons because we're not building more prisons. we're not. It's the death penalty was never really an answer. It was for a time when we had a smaller population. I think we just got rid of people, for centuries.
I can't
we
even
just hung them or did whatever we were going to do with them. But then we became, in quotes, more civilized,
right,
and we don't do that anymore.
Right.
So,
what do we do? 5 people every 10 years, maybe?
Yeah. So that's not going to reduce the populations, and we have a lot of people that we throw in for life.
Yeah.
And then even the Menendez brothers may be getting out of prison somehow.
Are they really? I haven't been following
They're
any of
about
that.
it because there's a whole bunch of people trying to claim that they're innocent or need to be looked at again. Really, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, it's very frustrating to watch
mm-hmm.
and to see what the population is going to do about this election. We have a lot of people live in this country, and what percentage is actually going to vote?
Yeah,
that's eligible to vote. And we'll see what happens. And if you know what you're doing, when you vote, we'll see.
And you bring that up, and I know we've got long on time here today, but we can have an XL edition to a certain extent. And that is, I watched some of the early voting, and I thought to myself, how many people are going out to the polls and thinking, oh, this vote really counts, or I need to get it in early so I do get it counted? And are they just turning it in, and is anybody counting them yet? Or are they just sending...
I don't think they're allowed to do that.
I don't either.
Sure they're not allowed to do it. But if it's on a machine, that ought to be in the first hour.
Yes.
We would get all those numbers. You would think.
I've noticed a lot of the news agencies, and I'm using that term loosely because it's how much of it's news and how much of it's biased opinion. A lot of the news agencies are hesitant to talk about any numbers at all as far as who's voting, which side of the fence people are voting.
Whether it's Republican or Democrat.
Yes, yeah. They're very careful, it seems like. And I don't know if that they know something that we don't know, or they're just being careful so that people don't, end up...
voting absentee, and they claim they don't even open those until Election Day.
So how?
So they're never going to, open them until it's going to take weeks. If it's that many and people are voting more and more. President Carter voted absentee the other day. So, he's not going to get his vote counted, I guess, until, maybe, I don't know, a couple of days. But that just is going to make, this country is going to go nuts if we don't know who the president is by some certainty the next day.
I agree. And you and I have talked about this before. I want to see a pretty good landslide, and I don't think we're gonna, but I want to see that. So
you really wonder what's going on out there. It's very weird because these candidates, you follow where the candidate is where they've got to work. And why are the candidates no longer going to Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota?
What do they know? What do they
know that we don't know? And so they're still going to Pennsylvania all the time. We were going to Georgia.
And that stopped.
They're still going to Arizona, but those seem to be the only 3 places where they go.
That's
now
wild.
They're doing some national shows because you can only go to Pennsylvania so many times.
Right.
And the voting is underway. So,
God, this is going to be sticky. It's going to be sticky, and it's going to be ugly. And but we're in it. There's nothing we can do. So I guess we just vote.
Yeah, we're just in it and ride it out. But you definitely see the media getting nastier, particularly those that can, and the drudges and those kind of people. I wouldn't believe half what you read.
I would agree with that.
Up there, particularly on Drudge, it's just really ridiculous. I'm so disappointed in him for becoming, not so much that he's criticizing Trump, but he's just publishing every damn thing in the world on that side and nothing on the other side. And you can't tell me that there's nothing coming out.
Right.
It's just all that side of the page.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is crazy. So,
well, Jimmy, I enjoyed the show immensely today. And by the way, I don't want to go without saying happy birthday to you. I know you had a birthday the last couple of days. And, boy, you look great for being 117.
Being 1,000 years old, but my birthday cake said I was 2.
Lies, I tell you. Until next time on Sweeping the Country, I'm Derek Walker. He is 102.
What do you say?
Good day.